Aurora Public Safety in the spotlight. Tonight, the community gets its first chance to weigh in on the changes coming to police and fire.
Plus, providing more than medical attention.
I just felt that all patients affected by violence deserve specialized care.
We're taking you inside a specialized unit helping victims of violence.
And a questionable post taken down ahead of 420. Now the city of Denver scrambling to clear the air.
Mending the divide between the community and those sworn to protect it.
Tonight, Aurora residents are sharing their thoughts on changes coming to the city police and fire departments.
Those changes are part of a consent decree by the state aimed at addressing concerns about policies, training, records keeping, and hiring.
Denver 7's Rob Harris is live in Aurora tonight with an early look at the path forward. Rob?
Yeah, so guys, the part of the consent decree is bringing in an independent monitoring group that's going to be overseeing all of this progress. That group is called IntegraSure. They've been in place for about 2 months, but tonight was the first time that they were really seeing Aurora residents face to face and hearing their concerns and questions about the police and fire reforms on the way. As you mentioned, they're going to be conducting oversight of many different issues, including racial bias, use of force, documentation of stops, and the use of ketamine, all of which have been top of mind in Aurora since Elijah McClain's death in 2019.
There are some residents that's in pain right now. There are some residents that still feel like enough hasn't been done.
The overall message of Aurora's first consent decree town hall is that its success depends on Aurora.
One day, what I would like to see, and this is no criticism, is that this side of the room is mixed with this side of the room, and we're all trusting and bonding each other, and I hope that consent decree can get us there. That's right.
Both in person and online, many from Aurora did show up to speak out.
I'm glad you are here today to hear from some passion, because we've been trying to get you all to help us.
Consent decrees can be controversial. Opponents argue they can hurt police morale, leading officers to be less proactive in the field, and over time allowing crime rates to spike. John McDonald, a professor of criminology at the University of Pennsylvania, writes that research on the topic is limited. He says, though, the studies of consent decrees in Los Angeles and Pittsburgh suggest they can lead to increased public satisfaction with police, with no evidence of harmful effects on police morale when police leadership embrace the decrees. But he says the changes are often substantial and require a lot of work by the police agency responsible. And that's why key to Aurora's plan is a community advisory council, pulling citizens into the reform efforts.
They will be our eyes and ears on the streets of Aurora to report back to us how they are feeling about their public safety agencies.
The council is still being formed, but activists in Aurora are already placing high expectations on this consent decree. Now, as you heard the president of IntegraSure saying there, key to the consent decree's success in their mind is keeping the community involved throughout the whole process. So they're saying this is going to be the first of many town halls that they are going to hold. They're going to be releasing quarterly reports on the progress of these reforms. And they're also inviting people out there watching who want to be a part of this process to join the committee advisory groups. You can do so at auroramonitor.org. Back to you.
All right, Rob, thank you. 2 weeks after firing Vanessa Wilson, Aurora is still in the process of finding an interim police chief. Chris Jewell is leading the department on an acting basis, and the city is aiming to have a permanent chief within 6 months.
Now, part of the repairing the relationship between the Aurora community and the first responders will include giving victims of violence the support they need.
As Denver 7 CB Cotton shows us, there is a team of healthcare providers doing just that through specialized care at a one-of-a-kind clinic in the state.
Violence leaves more than a crime scene. It leaves sorrow. And sometimes those who know it bravely come forward to share their story.
The depression and anxiety and everything comes with the injury.
And sometimes victims of violence need people like Christine Foot-Lucero to speak for them.
In addition to caring for sexual assault patients, we also see patients that are affected by elder abuse, human trafficking, strangulation, intimate partner violence, gunshot wounds, and stabbings.
Anyone who survived violence can be treated here at UC Health's Forensic Nurse Examiner Outpatient Clinic, where forensic nurse examiners, or FNEs, aim to provide specialized care to include first appointments and follow-up care.
The FNE has hours and hours of specialized training in the specific areas of violence, as well as in patients' affects after trauma, just their memory recall and understanding how trauma affects the brain.
The specialized nurses also have advanced training on how to best collect evidence,
so that there is the best chance for DNA for the investigation. And then we also are all trained in expert witness testimonies.
Foot Lucero, with the support of UC Health, started the program back in 2017.
I just felt that all patients affected by violence deserve specialized care.
And a year ago, the outpatient clinic officially opened. So far this month, UC Health's forensic nurse examiners have treated 176 patients, a 52% increase from April 2020, right when the pandemic first began.
I think it's fair to say that the severity of violence increased, and I would attribute that to not only the stress of the pandemic, but stay-at-home orders and things like that, which certainly isolated some people even further in these violent situations.
But she hopes people who've been impacted by violence know there's healing beyond the crime scene.
Being able to tell someone that they matter and that they're valuable, and being able to really just intersect on that cycle of violence is so incredibly important.
Like other healthcare providers, these forensic nurse examiners are mandated by the state to report cases of elder and child abuse. But outside of those two scenarios, if a patient comes in, doesn't want to work with law enforcement, doesn't want to press charges, then these specialized nurses respect the patient's wishes. Many of them tell me their top priority is only that you seek this care. In Aurora, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
New tonight, the superintendent at Estes Park Schools is out. During a special meeting tonight, the school board unanimously approved a separation agreement with Sheldon Rosenkrantz. Tonight, we are waiting to learn more about why the district is moving on. A request to the district for an answer have not been returned. And during tonight's board meeting, one director said the separation is mutual.
I acknowledge Sheldon for his leadership in making this happen. So this is a separation, but it's a separation on good terms.
Rosenkrantz had served as Estes Park School Superintendent since 2014. The assistant superintendent will lead the district as the board looks for a replacement.
Barry Morphew is a free man for now. Today, a judge granted prosecutors' request to dismiss Morphew's murder charge without prejudice. So that means Morphew can be charged again. He was charged in the murder of his wife, Suzanne Morphew, in 2020. Her body's never been found. Well, today, prosecutors revealed they believe they know where her body is, and that is under about 5 feet of snow.
A missing persons alert for a Jefferson County teenager missing since Monday morning. Take a look. This is 17-year-old Jason Abel. He was last seen in the area of 24th and Jackson, just down the road from Golden High School. So anyone who has seen him, just please call the Jeffco Sheriff at the number on your screen.
And also the search continues tonight for a Denver woman who walked away from her nursing home. 71-year-old Chong Su-yi was reported missing Saturday morning. DPD says it immediately conducted a grid search and then put her name on a nationwide system. However, the Colorado Bureau of Investigations did not put out a missing persons alert until Monday because they say of a lack of information. Amberwood Court, where she lives, says she has dementia, but is allowed to be outside, but adds she's never wandered off before.
It makes me sad, first of all, because she's out here, who knows with who or under what conditions. It makes me angry as well. I feel that more should have been done.
Anybody who knows where Sun-Yi might be, please call Denver Police at the number on your screen.
A woman is facing charges tonight after a small wildfire burned just feet away from homes in Boulder County. The Boulder County Sheriff has not said how the woman is connected to the fire. We know about 10 acres burned near Tally Ho Trail in Gun Barrel, causing between $5,000 and $10,000 in damage. No homes were burned. And as that fire was happening, Senator Michael Bennet was in Boulder County getting a look at debris removal from the Marshall Fire. Crews are just starting this process 3 months after that fire destroyed more than 1,000 homes in Louisville and Superior. Brenda Layton lost her home in Superior, and today she walked us around what's left as she waits for cleanup crews to make it to her lot. She tells us she's still deciding whether to rebuild.
I think people are hoping we move forward now. And honestly, I don't think any of us can do it with how it looks right now.
The debris removal process is expected to last into summer. At its height, there will be 30 crews working across the county.
But tomorrow is April 20th, 420, and a festival billed as the largest 420 festival in the world will bring tens of thousands to downtown to a smoke-filled Civic Center Park.
And Contact Denver 7's Jacqueline Allen has been watching with great interest as the city of Denver tries to support the cannabis industry while also not supporting it at the same time.
At a time when a lot of people are watching, this is not a great look for the city of Denver. The city put up this cringe-worthy post on Twitter and Facebook yesterday. Starts like someone trying to sound hip. Sup, Denverites. Goes on to promote the Mile High 420 Fest happening at Civic Center Park on Wednesday. Their call to action, fight the stigma surrounding marijuana use. Wait for it, it ends with, don't roll up without a ticket. Now, to give some context, using pot in public is still not legal in Colorado, so the city's confusing messaging lit a controversy on social media. Contact Denver 7 started asking questions, starting with the city's chief digital officer.
I saw the post yesterday. I was a little surprised. Did you get more reaction than you thought you would?
Yes, we definitely realized pretty quickly that we were inadvertently stirring up some controversy from the city side that we did not intend to do.
Yeah, so much controversy that today the city took the unusual step of removing this post, saying they generally do not promote events not sponsored by the city. Just in case you think the city is trying to be chill about 420, the Office of Marijuana Policy sent out a reminder that consumption of marijuana at the Mile High 420 Festival is strictly prohibited, even throwing in a threat of a prison sentence.
Do you see how there was some confusion between the first post and now?
Absolutely. I in my role, saw that confusion, and I understand that maybe removing the post could cause a little bit of confusion as well. Obviously, we hope that we don't make mistakes like this in our messaging and in our, brand content.
Now the city has put up a replacement message on social media that's not nearly as hip, emphasizing Denver's still very strict consumption rules. Denver police have been pretty lenient in years past at this event. It's expected more than 30,000 people will show up and probably toke up. So the reality is the focus will probably be less on public pot use and more on road closures and traffic and public safety. For Contact Denver 7, I'm Jacqueline Allen.
Tomorrow, we will remember the lives lost on one of the darkest days in our state's history. Wednesday is the 23rd anniversary of the Columbine school shooting, and ever since, classes have been canceled on the 20th. And the school community is committed to paying respect to those lost by making it a day of service and encouraging others to join in. There is also a run for remembrance on April 30th at Columbine High School.
A warm one today with 70s and 80s, but the mountains will see some snow overnight.
From trash to treasure.
It's estimated that over 100 million trees are used annually to produce junk mail.
A Colorado kid with an idea to repurpose all that junk mail.
And down 2 games, the Nuggets look to dig themselves out of their hole.